More than 110 years of use and growth. You're watching World Stadium Profiles, and this is Holstein-Kiel's Holstein-Stadion. This long-standing ground sits within the district of Kiel, a more northern region of the city and south of the Kiel Canal. Kiel itself is a city which sits on an inlet which leads out to the Baltic Sea, the largest city in Schleswig-Holstein, Germany's northernmost state. The site of the Holstein-Stadion dates back to 1911. Holstein-Kiel at the time were Northern Germany champions, playing at public municipal playgrounds which were no longer sufficient in size and structure for a growing fan base. The decision was made to build a new ground in Kiel, a project which officially opened at the Thorm under construction on the 15th of October 1911. It was back then known as Holstein-Platz, consisting of a simple wooden grandstand that could hold around 200 people. Holstein-Platz will get its first expansion work in 1922, following damage from a tornado the previous year. A brand new 420-seater grandstand was built to replace the destroyed one, with the ground also featuring changing rooms, washrooms and a groundskeeper's apartment on the opposite side. Capacity was up to around 8,000 the following year, when standing terraces were built elsewhere around the pitch. Further expansion came between 1927 and 1928 as the interest in football within the city of Kiel grew bigger and bigger. Terraces grew in size and the main grandstand got an extra 650 seats, raising total capacity up to 15,000. A cinder track was in turn installed around the pitch, turning Holstein-Platz into a venue for both football and athletics championships and the leading location for sporting events in Schleswig-Holstein. The Second World War saw Holstein-Platz suffer notable bomb damage to both its pitch as well as spectator stands. It would take until 1948 before the ground could return to sporting use, and the following year brought about its latest renovation work, construction of a new premium grandstand for 1,020 people. Capacity was up to 30,000 by the 1950s and featured the original rendition of the main stand, which still sits in place today. Floodlights would be installed in 1957, a sports hall was built in the immediate vicinity, and by 1965, the present-day Holstein-Stadion name came into use. The ground and its complex would be sold to the city of Kiel in the 1970s, with further changes occurring in 1975 and 1978 as Holstein-Kiel changed divisions within the German pyramid. Changes to the final quarter of the 20th century weren't present though, meaning that by the turn of the millennium, the Holstein-Stadion had fallen into a dilapidated state in places and its regulated capacity had to fall to around 8,000 in total. Holstein-Kiel were a third-tier side at the time, but any aspirations of reaching the Zweite Bundesliga would be held back by the poor condition of their stadium. It was the DFB themselves who demanded that the ground underwent a modern makeover, or else they would potentially have to revoke Holstein-Kiel's licence. It was a nearly €2 million renovation project, one that required the removal of the old concrete terracing steps that surrounded a lot of the pitch and the installation of two new covered stands. The stadium's north stand would feature 954 seats with covered standing blocks at either end. The new west stand would be equipped with standing room for more than 3,000 people, all based under a significantly higher roof and several metres back from the pitch itself. Further renovations improved the away section to the east, as well as a redesign of its access pass, which would make it easier for officials and players to get around the Holstein-Stadion. The new look ground could hold 11,386 at the time and would be able to be expanded up to 15,000 if necessary. And that expansion would eventually prove necessary. Holstein-Kiel were a regional Oberliga club in 2007-08 and just 2 seasons later were playing in the recently formed Dritte Liga, Germany's new third tier of the pyramid. New league demands around stadiums required substantial work to the stadium's lighting, as well as an improved away segregation, parking reinforcement, a new security system and improvements to its media facilities. Work took place between June and September 2009, officially reopening in October 2009 with a game against VfB Stuttgart's second team. 2011 brought the installation of a new LED screen. 2013 brought a new drainage system and a heated pitch system. 2015 brought a new redesign to aid fire protection regulations. Widened pass and corrugated iron ends to stands would ultimately lead to a reduction in total capacity down to 10,200 by the time of the mid-2010s. Holstein-Kiel reached the Zweite Bundesliga in 2017, needing to meet divisional demands of a minimum 15,000 capacity. Work that began in May 2017 would be done over 2 stages, a process that involved increasing the existing stands and developing a new stand to the east. Growth of the south, west and north sides would be completed by the start of Holstein-Kiel's 2017-18 season, operating with a temporary 12,000 capacity through safety measures. Stage 2 involved the creation of a new east stand, replacing the old east curve. This new structure was 27 metres high, holding around 4,800 people. Construction of that would be complete by April 2019, giving the Holstein-Stadion its required capacity to play in the top professional leagues of German football. Further necessary minor renovation projects create the Holstein-Stadion, which sits in place today. A ground with 4 distinct sides, each of them differing in size and structure. The main stand sits to the south, operating with a larger covered upper tier and smaller part-covered blocks of seating down the front. Dugouts and tunnel are also down the front, with its VIP area at the more eastern end. The west stand is fully covered and provides exclusively standing terrace for around 2,700 people. The neighbouring north stand, meanwhile, is split between seating and terracing, using blue seats in its centre and standing room for around 2,300 in total at either end. The east stand replaces what was once simple grass bank with a large screen positioned above, now a 2-tiered structure with seating in its upper tier and standing terrace in its lower tier. Promotion to the Bundesliga has led to a change in Holstein-Kiel's away section. Visiting supporters are now given the northernmost blocks of the 2-tiered east stand, provided with both a terracing and a seated option. A previous home was the easternmost end of the neighbouring north stand, though this can sometimes also be made available for the largest allocations. Total capacity at the time of writing sits at 15,034. Have you had the chance to experience the Holstein-Stadion before? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the Matchday Man for more stadium profiles like this one. I'll see you then.